I guess I've been running, in a sense, a long time. Both my parents are runners, so that was a big inspiration for me. Their thought process and what they've instilled in me has really been pivotal in terms of me getting more into long distance running. I think when I'm running, I feel the most, I guess, myself. I grew up on the island, so I guess in a sense I've been like always doing stuff outdoors. Like a typical trip would be going to Tofino and camping there. I learned how to ride a bike there. So I feel like I have like a vivid memory of like being in the Long Beach parking lot, riding my bike there. So that would probably be a time that I can think of that was an introduction to loving the outdoors. I feel like I didn't get too much into backcountry until I was more so a teen, and then more avidly, I guess, when I was more so like early 20s. Something that really was pivotal for me was I worked in Ontario doing canoe tripping. Just being out on those long trips definitely was a time where I felt super grounded and really felt my love for the backcountry growing. So I came back from Ontario and was in between finding a job. A couple of friends and I went and camped in the wintertime up in the park. We drove by the lodge and my friend, he said in the car, he's like, you should definitely apply there. I think you would really appreciate the community and you love the outdoors and love working with youth.
Sophie came to us and got a job as a program director, which just designs a lot of programs for our youth programs in outdoor education, which is the real heart of what goes on. It's actually figuring out what we want to deliver and delivering those things. And she's been very energetic and done a good job on that.
I think something that has kept me here is definitely the community and the people that I've met. Wyld camps are wilderness youth leadership development programs. The camps are definitely for youth to have fun, but to also learn skills that increase their confidence in the backcountry, which then I think will also increase their confidence within themselves. The Run Wild project is an initiative to decrease barriers for youth in remote communities, so specifically those from School District 84.
We have schools in 4 communities. One is Gold River, Tassis, Zabalis, and then Cayuga, and they progressively get more remote. The remoteness itself poses challenges. I mean, getting food, access to great health care, access to activities. Smaller schools often can mean there's less activities, but in our school district, there's opportunities for a tremendous amount of activities for the kids, both through sporting, outdoor education, international travel. So the school district has really focused energies on providing these opportunities for students.
Historically, like anything else, the kids go to summer camp and the kids get to do outdoor education or the well-to-do districts and the people who can afford it and things. So people in a small resource-based town like the Gold River district are definitely disadvantaged on their chances to get out and do an intense wilderness experience with a small team that probably will be life-changing for them.
Yeah, I've known Sophie for quite a few years now, since she started working at Strathcona Park Lodge, and she's become a really good friend of mine. This project really, she's first shared it with me just like as a wild idea of, I think I want to do this, and she was thinking back and forth, and I still remember how she put it out there to our boss, Tina. She was really nervous about it, but that only tells you how excited and passionate she is about that project, and I'm just really proud of her of how far it's come.
The Run Wyld program started in 2021, and Sophie approached me, and I thought it was a fantastic idea.
I remember just standing there, and I started to get like this flood of thoughts going through my head of, okay, what time do I want to make, and feeling like I needed to do something like incredible in terms of a time, and that kind of started to get quite overwhelming. It was about at the kilometer mark, or maybe a little bit before that, where I just kind of remembered why I was doing the run. I wanted to also kind of have an experience where there wasn't all this noise of like self-doubt or self-critique coming in, and I just decided to turn off my pacer, and I'm really glad I did, because it was an even more meaningful experience. And I kind of started to like settle into my groove and my pace, and just like enjoying looking at the smaller things. Like there was all these little like streams or little waterfalls that I could see that I would have never seen driving. I get to the Flower Ridge parking lot, and my parents were there. It was just nice to see their smiling faces, and again kind of remind me of the larger meaning of the run. I remember I kind of slowed my pace a little bit. I felt like I was actually really enjoying being in this space and being kind of alone and just seeing where that took me. I knew there was going to be a lot more people at the Lupin Falls parking lot. My friend Allie was going to be there, and she was going to run the last 10 kilometers with me.
Way to go, Sophie!
She left me at Eagle Point, and the last maybe kilometer, I just ran by myself, and I could like feel my pace increasing, and I just like felt like I was flying. I remember each kind of step of the leg had a different meaning, but I think if I had kept focusing on a time, or it would have taken on a different shape. And I'm really glad that at the beginning I could kind of reflect on why I was doing this, and remember that there's meaning in just kind of allowing an experience to be what it's going to be. And I think for me, that's what I think these camps can provide to youth.
I think we need to look at the outdoor field and ask ourselves who has access to these spaces and who doesn't. It very much is a space that's heteronormative and white privileging, and there's a lot of people that are excluded from that.
Projects like Run Wyld are are so important to increasing access to outdoor adventure and outdoor education opportunities, because it takes a lot of special knowledge and experience to be able to actually go into backcountry wilderness spaces. They're not easy to get to, and they're not easy to navigate. And financial means to be able to purchase this type of gear and gain this type of knowledge. And so it actually is, in a way, a very elitist experience, even though it should be able to be, anybody can go there. And so those create huge barriers for, the average person, and especially the person who hasn't had a lot of resources, opportunities to be exposed to that. That's a problem, because they are being able to go and climb a mountain in Strathcona Park or paddle a river there is a transformative experience, and also, again, bring someone to a sense of themselves that they wouldn't have had before. And the fact that that's limited to the people who already know how to do it or have the resources and financial means to do so is really unacceptable and unfair.
It's not hard to look outside and see things are out of balance, whether it be climate change, whether it be the amount of suffering that's happening across the world. And so really, nature-based therapy at its core is trying to reconnect human beings with their earthly home. And in so doing, try to address some of the ills that come from this disconnection.
It's important to spend time outside for anybody, and kids, just in our culture right now, right, we just have had less and less and less time outside, right? Less free play outside. And so having opportunities available to youth to really get out of their built environments and the structures of school and work, give them time to explore these other parts of themselves, kind of learn how to take healthy risks, because there's immediate feedback when we're outside. If we forget our coat, we get cold, and if we run kind of too fast, we're not paying attention, we'll slip. There's immediate feedback in the natural environment that gives us a lot of input and contributes to development on many levels in terms of physical and imagination and creativity and problem solving.
The term is experiential education, but you actually get out and do this thing in the wilderness environment, which just forces so much, because everyone has to work together if you're going to actually climb the mountain and get to the point. You actually have to communicate, you have to actually challenge yourself and carry a heavy pack and sweat a little bit. And, we kid about things like type 2 fun, but more memorable experience. It's going to rain, and you know what? Afterwards, talk about how tough you are. In a big picture wise, it's just a very intense growth experience when it's like you're out there 24/7 for a week or two.
You can have a student that might not do well in an academic setting or within the confines of the classroom, but once they get outside of that, they really shine, and the other students see them in a different light, and therefore they forge relationships. And I think that nature and outdoors can really break down some social barriers.
When we explore in nature, especially with mentors, with caring adults, when kids do that exploration and have that chance to kind of fall in love with nature with mentors guiding them and sharing that curiosity with them, that it will influence positive environmental behaviors later on in life.
There's so many ways in which in the outdoor fields people can use and consume nature or conquer nature. And a central premise with nature-based therapy is this idea of reciprocity. Connecting with nature, right? We not only do so for the betterment of ourselves, to reconnect and to come alive and to find our wholeness, but also to develop a relationship where we can be of service to nature and the larger web of life.
Running has become really important in my life. It empowers me to be my best self, and it kind of allows me to shed away the noise that circles around in my head, whether that be anxiety or insecurities or self-doubt. And I think it just gives me that space to just be and just kind of like breathe. As my mom would always say, it's like a series of recalibrations, going on longer trips, like whether that be a canoe trip or hiking trip or climbing, you're always having to recalibrate in your brain. something that I have reflected on in terms of running as well as backcountry trips is there's kind of like a beginning, middle, and end. It is kind of more of a journey, something that I kind of fell in love with long distance running.
I think it's been pretty cool for everyone involved. I don't know if Sophie admit that. I think that her getting inspired, and okay, I got to run a marathon, that was good to see. But then the rest of the staff were kind of keen too, and they would take part in run sections and cheer her on. And it was sort of an off-season thing that just something for we get all excited about and to pull something off. And that was great to see. And just, everyone got a little bit involved, and it was a real community builder for our little community of Strathcona Lodge.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was going to work, but she was persistent. She never gave up on the idea. And I know our school district has definitely benefited, not only from the students that come and take the programs with Strathcona Park, which are probably the best in the world, really, to, our program's relationship with them too. She has a genuine interest in providing, these exceptional kind of learning opportunities for the youth.
I don't think it needs to be these huge projects. If you have something that you can teach someone or bring them into a space, then I think that can be great.
Sophie has really inspired me as well for the program that I'm in charge of. She's really made me think that anything like that is possible, and she's really inspired me with those regards. Yeah.
Looking back, I think this process has had some major setbacks, but I honestly think that's what fuels my inspiration. Knowing that hard moments don't have the power to define the whole of something. And I think that's in itself what I want to